Yo guys, welcome to a new episode of Touring is My Business, my community aimed to educate and give knowledge to musicians and bands, metal bands. And these days I've been doing one-to-one sessions with the bands that want to work in a more structured way with me, following a pathway. And that's where I figure out and I find out what is the different problems that affects to different people that are the same. And that's when I say, okay, this problem means something, because if 10 people is talking about this to me, means that maybe it's important also for my people who is following me in my socials. So that's why I wanted to make this video of how important is, guys, that when you have a band, you have to research and study outside of your niche and your band. Remember, this is Bibi from the metal band Cryzix. With my band, I lived 18 years of experience with all these things, building an international career. And this means that I knew when with my band we were merging elements that were already known, but with different and fresh elements. And I also know when we merged when we didn't merge, and when we stayed in the safe place of the known things or expect that or the things that people expect from us. And I knew in each case when we were more successful and when we gathered more attention. Okay, and over these 18 years, we traveled the world. We released 6 albums, studio albums all over the world. We toured Japan, we toured United States, Europe, blah, blah, a lot of festivals. So during this time, I could really perceive what we were bringing in which case, you know? And I just want you to point you that when we started with the first album that, for example, is mainly a thrash metal album, even with that, we already were thinking with the band of taking the genre, the thrash metal, outside of its boundaries. Even that we were very young, we didn't know too much about much music, so we were like just starting as musicians. We were trying to give this extra twist to not try to sound like everyone else, which sometimes is very difficult, right? Because everything is invented. But the thing is, you don't have to invent things, but the thing is that you have to know how to reframe things and add colors to your formula that it makes fresh this, okay? That's why, because I was speaking with my fellow musicians from Touring is My Business, and I was realizing how lack of perspective this can happen, you know? And it's okay, of course, we all start with loving a genre like Metallica, thrash metal, Slayer, Anthrax, or maybe black metal. I don't know what is the genre you're listening, but what you should try to aim is to try to look for the references, and for the bands, you should try to study bands outside of your niche, outside of your genre, and then bring all those elements and colors to your band. And that's when you're gonna be very successful. And this means that you have to start studying bands that maybe you don't feel like very comfortable. And that's when the shift will start, because you will start to see how these people is operating in a different way. And then it's just about to apply this into your own thing. Let me just give you some examples, okay? Because I've always been the guy that when somebody is being hated, I'm the guy that when all my surroundings is hating somebody, some band or some people, I am like, okay, let's study this guy. Why this guy is bringing so much attention? Why this band is bringing so much passion, like love and hate? And this was back in 2014-15. I was studying Bring Me the Horizon because my ex-girlfriend was very fan of them, and I knew how they were bringing a lot of passion, right? Like a lot of young generations were following them, but the metal generations like me that came from Metallica, Slayer, like more extreme music, we were kind of pissed about them. It was a very disgraceful band for us. But I saw how much noise they were creating, especially because when they were playing with some bands like Machine Head, they were opening for Machine Head and bands like this, they were getting bottled. You can see videos on YouTube. The people was throwing bottles to them. So this is the level of polarity that they were bringing, right? That they were bringing a lot of hate from the metal community, the extreme metal community. But in the other hand, they were very successful. They were bringing something new and something fresh. So this catch my attention, even that I didn't like maybe at the beginning the image or some lyrics or some whatever. But this catch my attention at least to start paying attention. What are these guys doing? Because they are bringing a lot of noise. And this is what you want to create with your band. Noise, attention, impact, attraction, okay? And I started to study them, and it was when they released a new album called, I don't know, it was That's the Spirit or Sempiternal, that I started to like the songs. And that's when I said, okay, let's go see, even that I was not very fan of them, let's go now see the band live and see, let's study, you know? So study, it's not just about getting into their Instagram and checking their stories or their posts or listening their music. It's, let's go 100% to study what this band is offering and why they are creating such movement. And that's when I decided to, okay, let's go to Birmingham in 2016 when they released That's the Spirit. I flew there. I was completely alone because all my friends hated this band. Even my band members, when I was playing this music in the band, they were very pissed about me, you know, but I don't care. There was gold. I sensed, I knew deep inside in my intuition that this band had something to teach us and to teach me. And that's why I went to see them in Birmingham. And that's when I realized one very important thing back in 2015, 16, I don't remember, that I saw how this band was treating merch. One of the first things, okay, and the most important thing is I was seeing how they perceiving merch. So there was more merch stands in the venue than bars serving alcohol. I don't know if you get that, okay? But there was merch tables all over the place of the venue. It was a 3,000, 4,000 capacity venue, and there was merch points in the entrance, in the hall, in the different angles of the hall, so everyone could pick merch, and there was not queues, and yes, and it was very visible. First thing, amazing, because the level of sales of this band, it's brutal. But not just this, but also they were bringing a big variety of merch, of colors, of logos. So this means that for them, they were not just trying to fulfill an archetype of person, but they were trying to fill different archetypes. One is maybe the more classy, the other one is more gothic, the other one is more metalhead, more extreme. So they had different logos, different designs, different colors for every different kind of person. So this means that the sales were going up and up. This is something that metal bands, from my perspective in Spain, and also studying the bands in my genre, in my niche, I couldn't get to this point because all bands were doing the same. Okay, let's do just one black t-shirt of my album cover and maybe another t-shirt design that I pay to whoever, and then let's do this in black and white, and that's all. Always the same logo, always the same vibe, always the same everything. And we bands always did I saw that we were all doing the same. And of course this kind of works, but it was in the moment with Cryzix that we applied this and we played, okay, let's work with different designers, with different styles, with different logos, with different colors, and let's try to see how much we can expand the customers, you know, the fulfilling the customers. And that's when was a big step up, a big change in our sales, in our merch during our shows, and also especially in the shop, in our online shop. It was crazy the amount of sales that we did from the previous last year to the next year. The comparison was crazy. And just applying this idea, okay, so that's one winning idea that if I just studied the bands from my niche, I would never get to that. Nowadays, all bands, or more and more bands are into this, and especially the young ones, they already know how they have to treat the merch. It has to be like a brand of clothing, a clothing brand. And that's why they put a lot of attention, that they know that all the money comes from there, and they have to bring the best of the best merch, and they have to build this idea of my band, my clothing brand. Okay, that it's like Nike, like whatever brand that I don't know right now, Carnart or whatever. And nowadays bands, they really have it integrated, but back then it was not that obvious. And also nowadays the bands that didn't realize yet, because they didn't study too much these new bands, and they stayed only with their old school references, and they still just sell the black and white t-shirt version, then they are freak out when they go to a show and they see a band younger than them, that they are smaller, but they are bringing much more sales to their customers. This happens to us when we tour with older bands from us. We always kicked ass. I mean, maybe the bigger band was selling more merch, selling more merch and more sales, but we were very close to their sales, comparing the difference of the status of the band. So that's what, okay, this band is selling a lot. Why? You know why? You know? So this is just a reference then also, but when you study other bands, for example, in this Bring Me the Horizon trip, also I saw the emotions and I could see with my own eyes, my very own eyes, who were the fans of this band and how much they were defending this band and how much impact they created in their life, you know. And this is something that nurtures you and cultivates you, okay. And this is something that I don't see too much in other bands, you know. And in the end, what you want to achieve as a musician is that your music impacts so much in emotional level to your audience that they feel so much connected to you. This is the ultimate thing that the biggest bands can achieve. And then you have the example of Metallica. Like Metallica achieved that, but not all the bands achieve that, because you have to do some certain things and treat fans like in a certain way and express in a certain way, you know, and give from yourself in a certain way. So this is just an example of one trip, how much knowledge came to me. But I always try to do this in all levels, in different types of bands, from electronic music to pop music, and there's always something you can learn from. So please, this is honest, brutal, direct, straight message to you. If you are trying to build if you're trying to create your next album, your next music, your next art, okay, your next piece of art, don't just get in your comfort zone of your 4 bands that you always liked since you were a child, which is cool, is your DNA. But now let's now try to add to this DNA all elements and colors that some bands are already attracting you to your attention. You have some bands in your radar that they are awakening something in you, even that you are not fan. I encourage you that you start studying those bands and why are they catching your attention, because if they catch your attention, these specific things, this means that your audience probably will you will be able to catch the attention of your audience with this specific thing, that you can put it on your own terms. Okay, think about this. It's very important. Otherwise, if you don't do this job, then don't ask yourself why nobody is listening to your album, or why your Spotify numbers are always the same, why you have the same number of sales. It's because you're not digging enough. You're just staying in the safe zone. And this life is not meant to stay in the safe zone. It's meant to push boundaries, to experiment more, to bring and grow. And the only moment you grow is when you start stepping in the uncomfort references, you know, like the things that you don't know too much. So it's a passionate thing to do, and I encourage you to do that. I will leave it very straight like this. I don't know if I have time. No, I don't have time for more. I have some classes to do now. So, guys, I want you to be very mindful about this, because I am very pissed when a band is investing all their money in their new album, in their music, and it's a lot of money. We all know it's a lot of money. And it's a shame when you do all this effort of time, energy, money, you put the music and just the same people is buying, but you're not catching new people. And in the end, it's not just because you want to get filthy rich out of your music, but you want your music to have a deeper impact and impact more people, and that more people can enjoy what you try to say and put over your music, you know. That's why I think it's so important, this education to musicians, that I try to aim for this Instagram broadcast channel called Touring is My Business. But I also encourage you that if you want to take it seriously and you want a structured method and learn from all my experience, and send me a DM, because very soon I will open this program that now it was full for some months, but I was already doing it with a small group of people. I will start doing it with some new musicians, because I want to see how they react with all this new information I'm giving. And I encourage you that you send me a message, and I will send you more information of how I work with this, and I will be very happy to take you to this journey and put you in my mindset, and you try to level up and start applying all these things to your music. I'm not the one who has to tell you what you have to do. You already know the answers, but you need clarity. You need clarity and focus on what is the next step. So in any case, send me a DM if you have any struggle with your band or whatever, or you're feeling like doubts or whatever about your journey. I will be also happy to give you clarity. You have my Instagram link in this description. Also, you have the link of the broadcast channel that you can join. And follow this content for more, because I will be posting more and more valuable information for bands that I'm pretty sure that you will feel reflected. You will feel that it will speak to you, because I've been there. I've been 18 years and I've been in all these stages of a band, discovering, rediscovering, and trying to be better and better musicians. So thank you for following. Give it a like. Send a comment here in the video. I'll be very happy to meet you, and see you in the next video.